Good stuff, man. I love hearing from Caleb and the band, man. It's awesome. Listen, here's what I believe. I could be wrong, but I really do believe this right now. I believe God wants to do something in some of our hearts tonight, including myself. So let's just pray once again, and I'm going to tell some stories here in a minute and all that kind of stuff, but I just want to pray one more time before we get started, because I believe that God wants to do something. I want my heart, I want our hearts in here to be ready for what God wants to do. Let's pray. Father God, Lord, I do believe that you're ready and willing to do something in our hearts tonight. And Lord, you just need us to follow through with obedience. And so, Lord, I just pray for myself. I pray for the people in this room that we can just listen to you and listen to nothing else. Lord, we have an audience of one tonight. And Lord, I just pray that we can be attentive to what you want to do in our heart. And everything else can be put aside, all distractions, all texts, all notifications. Lord, help us to focus in on this room and on what you want to do in our hearts. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Now, let me ask you some questions. How many of you all are UT fans in here? How many of you are UT fans? Come on. Got some balls? Got some balls in the house? How many of y'all are Vandy fans? I apologize. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. I know it's a rough season. I feel like every season is a rough season for you all. How many of you guys Florida fans? Seriously, y'all should be disappointed in yourself. You know Jesus? You know Jesus? Then you might want to cheer for that too. How many of y'all are Florida State fans? Good job. I appreciate that. I'm a University of Louisville fan. That's my alma mater too. What'd you say? Lamar Jackson, that's my boy. Got a picture on my Instagram. You can check it out. Him and I were at a banquet together. Got to meet the dude. Couldn't understand a word he said, but he was a very nice guy. So September 26th, 2002, Louisville is playing Florida State. They're ranked number 4 in the country. I'm a junior in college. And there's a big rumor that if we win, we're going to tear down the goalpost. And I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm all over that. Has anyone ever wanted to tear down a goalpost before? Like some of the guys are, girl, I love that. When I was a kid, I'm seeing video of them doing that. I'm like, I want to do that one day. And so I got a good feeling about this game. And so I go to the game. It is a torrential downpour. It's pouring the entire game. And so it's back and forth. And we got a dual threat quarterback that's running and throwing. He's all over the place. He's unbelievable. He's like 6'14". He's massive. That's a height if you didn't know. And so his name's Dave Ragone, and he's unbelievable. And so this is 2002. I know some of y'all were born then. I'm in college. And so, yes, I know I'm old. But anyway, so I'm at the game, and the fourth quarter rolls around. Florida State's got the lead. We tie it up. Regulation ends, and I'm like, we're going into overtime. We're winning this baby. So 1st and 10 on the 25. All we've got to do is stop them, get the ball, and kick a field goal. We win the game. So first play, quarterback takes a snap, he draws a little bit, steps back, he throws the ball, Louisville picks it off. They begin to run it back, he gets tackled. I'm like, oh my goodness, all we've got to do is kick a field goal, and we're going to beat the number 14 in the nation. Yes, I'm going crazy. My friends and I are sitting there, I leaned over to my friend, I said, bro, I'm going to be the first one on that goalpost over there. He said, no, you're not. And I said, oh yes, I will. And he's like, all right, you're an idiot. And I'm like, I don't care, shut your mouth. And so, talking to him, and so we get the ball, David Ragone takes the ball, he hands it off right up the middle to Henry Miller, number 44. He runs through the line, runs over a linebacker, and then I realize it's open field. I'm like, I'm going for the goalpost right now. He's not even in the end zone. So I jump over the ledge. I'm running on the field before he scored the touchdown, run through the Florida State line, run all the way down the field, and I get to the goalpost. How many of y'all ever stood under a goalpost? Some of y'all have? Okay, well, I thought it was like 6 feet, so I could like grab it and climb up there. Like, get up there, and it's like 12 feet in the air. And so I get up there, and I feel like a 4-year-old who got a flat tire on his bike, and I'm just sitting there like, my life's over. I'm never going to get to follow through with what God's going to do with my life. Like, this is awful. What am I going to do? And out of nowhere, I think he fell from heaven. I'm not joking. This redneck of angelic light appears. He steps up, and he's got like 2.5 teeth. Like, literally, there's a half tooth there. And he looks at me in this voice, and I don't know how on earth he said. He said, "I'll get you up there, brother." And I'm like, it must be a brother in Christ. Because, I mean, this is the greatest moment of my entire life. And so I get on his leg, and I climb up there, and I get up, and I'm hanging on, and I pull around, and I'm on this thing, and I'm like, I'm tearing this thing down. This is real, true story. I'm tearing this thing down. You go ahead and take a picture real quick. This is the first one. I'll zoom in a little bit more on the second one. It's coming, I promise. That's not it. Although that looks like a good movie, Battleship. Cinnamon, April 11th, there it is. So the bottom left, on that goalpost, that's me. get off me! And so I climb up there, and I'm standing on the goalpost, and I just give it every bit of energy I possibly can. So I'm trying to tear this thing down. It's beginning to teeter, and then I about pass out, and I stand there for a minute, it goes back the other way, and then I go again, and then out of nowhere I just fall to the ground, and like I feel like I'm going to die. And so I'm laying there, and I'm like, Lord Jesus, I need you to come back right now, because I can't take it anymore. And so I'm standing there, and I know where somebody smacked me in the back of the head. I'm like, hey, get off me! And I look up, and it's the goalpost. The goalpost hits me in the head. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I helped do that. I helped. Just want everybody to know. And so I get out, and I finally connect with my friend. But before, this is the cool thing. Remember that redneck evangelic light? So I'm up on the goalpost. I'm standing there, and off in the distance, probably like across the room a little bit farther than that, he's looking at me. And I don't know where he comes from. I swear he's from the Lord. And he's like, you, man, you. And I'm like, yeah, you. Get some teeth, bro. I mean, it's like dentures or something. I don't know what's going on. And so then I climb down, and as I said, it's been raining the whole game. So we're diving through the mud and the water. We're like, yeah. And then we go out in the parking lot and come to the bus. And my boys are like, or my buddy's name's Jacob. He says, hey, go yell at that bus. And so I bang on the door, and they open the door. I'm like, C-A-R-D-S, Cards, Cardinals. And then I look, it's the Florida State football team. It's a bad idea. Surprised I didn't get jumped. And he's like, yeah. Has anyone ever wanted to tip a porta potty? Yeah, me neither. And so we get to a porta potty, and he's like, tip it. I'm like, okay. And so I push it over, and when I push it over, I didn't realize there was somebody inside. And so it falls face down, and she says, hey, it's going on my shirt. And I'm like, oh, you know that vent on the top? I see your hand like crawling out of the vent. And I'm just kidding, I did not go report about it. But it did happen, all that happened. I did not go report about it, that's just a fun ending to the story. But you're like, why did you tell that story? What does that have to do with Jesus or the Bible? Absolutely nothing. But the next morning does. I woke up the next morning, and I've never been drunk, nor will I ever be, but I promise you, whatever I felt that morning had to be a glimpse of what it felt like to be hungover. It was miserable. I probably woke up at about 4 in the afternoon, and I'm like, I gotta go back to bed. Like, I can't take this anymore. Like, it's like when I was laying on the ground under the goalpost. I'm like, Lord Jesus, come back. I'm done right now. And so I laid back down, and I'm like, what happened to me? I exerted every bit of energy I had. I was exhausted. I was tired. And I felt, I guess what you call, as the consequences of the next day, and it was the happiest night of my life. I mean, other than like my marriage, first, second, third kid, the night I got saved. So like the 5th best night of my life or something like that. So I don't know if you'd call that happiness or what, but here's what I learned that day. Happiness is temporary. The joy that you feel, the happiness that you feel through something you do is very temporary. And I've done a lot of exciting things that I've regretted. Then there's the next morning. Then we break up. Then someone finds out. Then there's the end to whatever was going on, and it was very tough, and you have to deal with the consequences. Let's pray real quick. Father God, as we look at this verse real quick, I pray that it applies to our heart and changes for us from the inside out. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Proverbs 27:1 says this, do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Do not boast about tomorrow, because you do not know. You know, I've gotten some phone calls, I've experienced some things, and everything has drastically changed following. The next day, my life was completely different from the day before. I remember I was at a dodgeball tournament. I put our church that I've recently been a part of always puts on a big dodgeball tournament. I'm cleaning up and rolling up the nets, and this dude named Daniel calls me like 3 times in a row, and my phone's got like 1%. I'm like, if I answer this, it's going to die, so might as well just send it to voicemail. Send it to voicemail, a couple of things. Later, my phone died. I get home at about 11 o'clock. Plug my phone in, and I'm like, he's calling me again. Like, it's 11 o'clock. He texts me and says, call me ASAP. Like, they got school the next day. What's he doing? Call him. I said, Daniel, what's up, bro? And he's crying. I said, hey, man, what's going on? Like, what's going on? He said, well, I was in dodgeball. My dad died. And I said, man, I'm so sorry. And so I began to tear up. I'm just broken over this young man. He's a senior in high school. His dad just passed away. He was a stud athlete. Ran track and ran hurdles. He's supposed to win district. Talked to him the next day. I said, Daniel, you're going to run. You're supposed to win. He said, my dad was supposed to come for the first time all season. There's no way I can run. And so that phone call rocked his world. It rocked my world. It wasn't even my family. Everything changed at that point. Another story when my world was rocked was April 13th, 2013, 4:05 p.m. You're like, wow, you remember the details of this. Yes, and I'll never forget it. I'm in Naples, Florida. I'm getting ready to officiate a wedding. It's one of my students and her fiance. They've been dating for a while. She's younger. She's about 20 years old. She's getting married. So 4 or 5 p.m., I'm at the drive-thru of Taco Bell. Don't judge me. And I get a phone call. It's my mom. And I say, hey, Mom, what's up? You ready to do the wedding? All that kind of stuff. And she said, hey, I thought about waiting until after the wedding, but I feel like I should go ahead and call it. I'm like, what happened? And my dad's in the hospital. He's been in the hospital for about 2 weeks, but he's supposed to get out. Big deal. And she said, while I was in the hospital today, Dad had a stroke. And if he lives through the weekend, he's never going to walk or talk again. And that would be the best scenario. And so I said, well, what do I do? Do I come home? Like, I'm in shock. I'm tearing up. I'm speechless. And she says, no, do the wedding, all that kind of stuff. So I hung up. And I'll get on to that story in a minute. But I went on and did the wedding. Let me just tell you, oh my goodness, it was the worst wedding known to man. First of all, so I'm standing here, she's standing here. And I said, do you, Ashley? Her name was Candace. So she's standing here. She looks at me and says, who's Ashley? But this is the best part. She looks at him like he's done something and says, who's Ashley? And I'm like, oh, this has gone bad. And I'm getting ready to introduce them like Mr. and Mrs. Stan Musil. I realized I didn't even know his last name. I'm like, this is awful. Like, this could not have gone any worse. I'm praying for the food at the dinner after, at the what's it called, the reception. And I said, dear Lord, please thank you for the hands that built it. You need to build the chicken teriyaki in the kitchen in the back. Like, it was a bad day. And so, went on, and my dad was, he was in the hospital for about 20 months. 22 months to be exact. And it was very challenging. He would hit us. He would yell at us, although he couldn't talk. That was a right diagnosis. He couldn't walk. He couldn't communicate. And so he could think something, but he could never tell us what he was thinking. And so it was miserable. And my dad was the most gentle, patient man in the world. He would swing at us, he would yell at us just through mumbling and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, Dad, I don't know what you're saying. And so you want to get mad, he has no idea what he's doing. He was out of his mind. It was the roughest thing. One day my wife said, hey, have you ever heard your dad's testimony? And I said, yeah, I think he was a kid, church, walked the aisle, blah, blah, blah. And she said, no, like, do you really remember the details of it? I said, yeah, I think. She said, why don't you ask about it? I'm like, well, he doesn't talk, so it's going to be kind of a one-sided conversation. I'm trying to hear his story. And she said, well, why don't you just figure it out and pray about it? So I went to my mom and I said, Mom, tell me about when Dad got saved. She said, oh, I remember that day. He tells me about it so much. He's at church and this, and this happened. I'm like, okay, and then what happened? And then got baptized, this and that. I'm like, oh, cool. Thank you so much. That helps so much. So I went into my dad's nursing home room. Like I said, he can't talk. The only thing he can say is, yep, That's it. That's the only thing he can say. Anything else he tries to communicate, he can't do it. We'd get him to write down my name, and he'd write my wife's name. He was off. It was horrible. I said, hey, Dad, do you remember the time you gave your life to Christ? And I don't know what happened. I could be reading into it, but I really don't think I was. His demeanor changed. His attitude changed. He went from miserable and angry and frustrated, and it's almost like a joy overcame him. And he said, yep. I said, hey, Dad, like when the pastor talked about this, and this, and you stepped out in the aisle, do you remember that? Yep. I said, what about when you went down to the front, the pastor prayed with you, and you gave your life to Christ? Yep. I said, so you know beyond, I just asked him over and over and over again, because sometimes he wouldn't understand. I said, so you know beyond the shadow of a doubt, if you were to die today, because you're going to die soon, that you would go to heaven when you die. I said, yep. I said, so you know, like, if Jesus took you home right now, like you would walk in the pearly gates or whatever it looks like, and you'd encounter Jesus, and you could say, you died for me, and I got home in heaven. He says, yep. And so I don't know what it is. I could be looking into it, like I said, but it's almost like he understood for the first time that when he enters into eternity, no longer this life right here, when he enters into eternity, he understood there's no more darkness. There's no more pain. There's no more suffering. There's no more cancer. There's no more divorce. There's no more sickness. There's no more not being able to communicate. There's no more trying to hold my wife's hand, but instead I punch her. I mean, there's no more of that. It's like he got it for the very first time, and he sat there, and everything changed. And my dad it was just completely different. So in the beginning of January 2015, January 6th to be exact, my dad died and he went home to be with Jesus. So I got to preach his funeral 3 days later, and let me just tell you, it sounds crazy. You're like, something's wrong with you.
was one of the most joyful days of my life. Because I knew my dad was in heaven. There was no more pain. There was no more sickness. There was no more darkness. That was the epitome of darkness that he was living in. There was no more of that. I said, we're not going to put on his grave R.I.P., rest in peace. We're going to put D.I.G. for dancing in glory. And everybody's laughing and all that kind of stuff. Made fun of my dad for like 30 minutes. And then at the funeral, I began to ask some questions to some people and talk about some stuff. And I said this, I bet if we rolled, because my dad was in a wheelchair, obviously. I said, I bet if we rolled my dad out here right now, he would want to communicate the everlasting, relentless, satisfying joy of entering into a love relationship with the one true living God, Jesus Christ. And how nothing else, not his marriage, not his kids, not his business, not his success, would matter. Just a relationship with Christ is what he wanted to communicate. And I talked about that. And then I read this verse, Proverbs 27:1. Do not boast about tomorrow, because you do not know what a day may bring. March 31st, 2013, he walked into the hospital. He walked in working full-time at a business 2 days before. He owned a business, never to walk and talk again. He never knew what tomorrow would bring. Never knew it. Everything changed. There's a young man in our ministry several years ago out of Naples, his name is Edry Francisco. Solid young dude, loved Jesus. There's another young man in our ministry named Jake Kuchar. He was a pretty solid young man, but at the same time, here's what happened. Their heart was beating. 17 and 18 years old. Andrew died of cancer. Life over. Jay Kuchar, heart beating. He's having a good time. He's in the right place at the wrong time. He's standing there, somebody shoots at someone else, stray bullet hits him in the neck. His heart stops beating. Game over. He had no idea what tomorrow would bring, and it changed everything. Edry was living for Jesus and living it up. His family knew that he was going to get healed, and then he ended up dying and going to heaven. And his twin brother is still living with Christ to this day. And here's something I've learned. You can say what you want about death. You can say what you want about not believing in God. I've been with a few people, not a lot. I've been with a few people in their last moments. I've never met an atheist in their last moments. Never. I've never met an atheist, because then at that last moment you know something else is coming. Listen, students, we do not know what tomorrow may bring. We worry about our hair, we worry about our clothes, we worry about sports, we worry about band, ROTC, we worry about our families, and those things are important. All of them are. But we have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. And so I don't want to sit here and say, hey, listen, all of us are going to die tonight, and we need to decide if we're going to go to heaven, but we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It could be the end tomorrow, it could be the end in 30 years. But the truth is, whether it's tomorrow or 30 years, I want to be fully prepared. And I want to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that I want to go to heaven when I die. And when I preach my dad's funeral, I ask his friends, his co-workers, my family, I ask them to respond to a decision. Everybody bow your head, close your eyes, and open your heart. I just want you to think for just a moment. Because it says in Revelation 3:20, it says this. I just want you to picture some things in your mind. We're praying right now, we're in an attitude prayer, but I want you to picture some things as well. Revelation 3:20 says this, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and eat with him, and he or she with me. You know, some of you right now are hearing his voice, and he's knocking at the door of your heart. You know, my dad told me the story of Jesus with his words and his life. I learned from my dad and the church that he encouraged me to go to. I learned that, as you all know the story, Jesus came, he lived a perfect life, he died a murderer's death for me and for you. Picture this, we're going to talk about this a little bit tomorrow night. He hung on the cross naked, many theologians say, in front of his best friend, his mother, the guards of the world, for us. And while he hung on the cross, God placed your sin, listen to this, folks. God placed your sin and my sin on him. So he died in our place. Taking our sin to the grave, he arose from the dead. He has the power to defeat death. He has the power to defeat sin. You know, when you say, I'm done, I don't want to be happy because happy has consequences. I want joy. Because my dad experienced joy. I experienced a lot of happiness on that football field, like goalpost. But my dad experienced joy when he entered into eternal life and he thought about eternity. When you say, I understand that that I've sinned and rejected God and need to turn from my sin. Confess my sin and turn to Him so that when I get that phone call, I can say, God's good. I wouldn't want to have a stroke and I'm out of my mind. I can smile at the greatness of God like my dad did. I want joy. And you may say, I want peace. I want Jesus because I don't deserve Him. If you want to know that you know that you know the Creator of this earth and cry out to Him right now, then I want you to raise your hand. If you want to know beyond the shadow of doubt that you can give your life to Christ, then I want you to raise your hand. Anybody else? Awesome. Go, be bold. Put them up high. Don't be ashamed. It's boldness. Listen. Head bows, eyes closed, hearts open. You can put your hand down. Thank you. Listen, I sit here in this room, and I really feel like, and this is my opinion, this is not fact, but I really feel like there's some of us in this room that would say, yeah, I got saved when I was a kid. I walked an aisle, I got baptized. But if I was to ask you right now, do you have a relationship with Jesus? You would say, no, I don't. If I was to ask you right now, do you think you go to heaven when you die? You'd say, no, I don't. If that's you in this room and you're just like, man, I want to know beyond the shadow of a doubt. And forget the decision that I made when I was younger, because I don't know if that was for sure or not. So I'm not saying it's a lie, I'm not saying it's true. If you just sit here and say, you know what, I need to give my life to Christ because I wasn't so sure about that time that I did it. If that's you, then I just want you to raise your hand. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, we had about a few students. Keep putting your hands up. Awesome. Okay, here's what I want you to do. If you raise your hand from either one of those decisions, you're unsure. That's what I want you to do with boldness. Don't think. Just do. Because the more you think, the more you want to do. And listen, folks, eternity is too long to be wrong. Eternity is too long to be wrong. If you say I was saved, but there's no life change, then I would question that you were saved. And so if you just raise your hand, or if you just want to surrender your life to Christ, then I want you to stand up. Don't think about it, just do it. Awesome. Thank you so much for your boldness. There's a couple more. Are you going to stand up? I'll give it just a second. There's a couple more that raised their hand and said they want to surrender their life to Christ. Eternity is too long to be wrong. There's nothing wrong with having that conversation. Happiness is temporary, but the joy of Jesus Christ is eternal. Alright, this is what I'm going to do. If you want to surrender your life to Christ, and you don't like standing up anymore that didn't stand up, this is what I want you to do. I want you to repeat after me. You repeat these words in your head, and this is a reflection of your heart. It's not the words that save you, it's the attitude of your heart. And so you can repeat these words after me as you pray. Dear Jesus, I know I've sinned, but you died on the cross for me. Please forgive me of my sin. Please give me a home in heaven. I surrender my life to you. Please come into my life and live with me forever. I give you my past. I give you my today. I give you my every tomorrow. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Awesome. Everybody raise your head up. Look, this young lady right here was bold enough to say she wanted to write it says that in the Bible that tens of thousands of angels are rejoicing right now over one soul who turned their life over to Christ. And so this is what I want to challenge all of you tonight. So we're going to ask, if you would, Daniel, where are you, brother? Right there. If you want to talk to her, maybe you want to wait till after or do it right now? After, okay, awesome. You know who she is. Okay, great. Okay, here's the thing I want to challenge y'all with. About it, you ladies, you can sit down. It's awesome. I love it. So proud of you, girl. So proud of you. About 2 months ago, I got an email. My friend Kyle Drummer had passed away. This guy was in my graduating class, and he died 2 months ago of a brain aneurysm. He died like that. A friend went in to grab some food at the fast food restaurant, came back, and he was dead in the car. And so this was, I'm a little older, so unfortunately friends die. It happens, I've lost several friends. But this one rocked my world. It rocked my world. I was in tears over and over. I haven't talked to this guy in about 18 years. And so my wife's like, what the heck is wrong? Like, we haven't talked to this guy forever. And she said, what's wrong? And I said, all throughout high school, I knew he wasn't a Christian, and I never shared the gospel with him. I never invited him to church because he was the cool kid in school, and he actually accepted me. And so I didn't want to ruin that friendship. Never shared the gospel. We ended up going to Florida together twice. Never shared the gospel. 6 months ago, fast forward 18 years, 6 months ago, he emails me and says, hey man, I see you live in Nashville. I said, yeah man, how you doing? I think about the time that I should have shared the gospel with him, but I never did. And he said, man, I'm going to stop by and see you. And I'm sitting there in my head, I'm thinking, man, I need to just call him and just tell him about Jesus. I need to call him and say, come to my church this week. I don't care if you can drive 3 hours. And man, we just got to talk. Like, we got to have some real talk here. And I didn't do it. He told me about his son. He's not married. And I'm like, the dude's not saved. Are you going to man up? You're going to be a chicken. I chickened out. And he died. And because of my complacency, I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure, but without a relationship with Jesus Christ, you cannot enter eternal life into heaven. And so because of my complacency, his blood is on my shoulders, and I believe he's in hell because of me. And you're like, don't put the blame on you. Well, who else was doing it? It was on me. And so the reason I say that to you all tonight is because, listen, somebody's popping in your mind right now a name of a student that's in your school, that's a friend of yours, a friend on Facebook, or somebody that you just see around, that you know needs to be here tomorrow night to hear the gospel and to have an opportunity to turn their life over to Christ. And so here's what I want you to do. One friend. I challenge you on a video before 3, forget 3. 1. Think of one friend and don't text them and ask them. Say, listen, hey, you're coming with me tomorrow night. And they say, hey man, I can't, I gotta sleep. Say, man, I'm picking you up. We're going to have fun and you get a chance to win an Apple Watch and you're coming with me. Like, do whatever it takes. Go to their house, put them in handcuffs, blindfold them, hit them with the bats and they're knocked out and drag them to the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it takes, it doesn't matter because, listen, they need Jesus, you know? I mean, you can get arrested. It's okay. Isn't that right, Daniel? Is that okay? Sure, he's okay with it. I mean, I'm just the guy that just comes in for the day. He can be the one to get in trouble for this. Listen, whatever it takes, because listen, guys, I'm serious about this. Eternity is too long to be wrong. And I just think about my friend Kyle. I blow it. In 20 full years passed by, I did nothing about it. And so I know there's a name popping in your mind. If there's not, and as we sing this next song, I'm going to pray that maybe a few names pop in your mind and that you think about that you're going to do whatever it takes to get them here tomorrow night. Let's pray. Father God, when I just think about Kyle, and gosh, it still breaks my heart because I blew it. You were working on my heart for 20 years. And I did nothing about it. Lord, we never know who's on the other side of our obedience. And so, Lord, I just pray for these students right now that you put a name or a couple names in their head, and they just get relentless and tenacious and passionate about you. And they say, I don't care what I got to do, I'm going to get them here tomorrow night. And me and her and him are all going to text these 5 students. And we're going to get them here. We're going to do whatever it takes to get them here because we think their eternity is more important than what we look like. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's stand up and sing. Let's just cry out. Let's just forget who's around us. Let's forget what notifications are going on in our pocket. And let's just cry out to Jesus right now.